What's going on, everybody? I hope you're having an amazing day, and I hope you're having a good week as always. Much love, peace, positivity to everybody. I wanted to make this video to talk about how the entire mainstream media yesterday reported falsely that the shooter of the Florida school, much condolences and love to anybody involved or anyone that knows anybody involved. It's horrible stuff. It's terrible. It's sad that everybody politicizes everything, screams for a week, and gives this guy, the attention that he doesn't deserve. But if everyone's going to lie about it and make stuff up, I thought I'd make this video to explain how the entire mainstream media yesterday published an entirely fictional story, completely made up, and it was actually a 4chan prank or 8chan. And it's just ridiculous. I mean, regardless of your political preference, the whole point of my channel, the whole point of what I'm doing is to let people know they're being lied to. I mean, people really have to wake up, because it has nothing to do with left versus right, Trump versus not Trump, gun control versus not gun control. There's a bigger picture, which is the entire mainstream media, Facebook, Google, Twitter, as well as the trusted news organizations. They have no regards for basic truth or accuracy. They just don't. I wish they did, but they don't. And I'm going to explain exactly how, and you could do your own research. Let's wait about 20 seconds for everybody to get in. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate you coming in. As always, you can follow me on Instagram at DreamRare. That's DreamRare. On Twitter at Legendary Energy. My website is legendary.vision. It has all my links, and check the comments after I'm done. I'm going to post my donation link if you'd like to support, but also my email list, which is free. Takes 10 seconds to sign up for, and I'll be sending out an email within the next few days. So let's wait 10 more seconds. I'm going to take a sip of my coffee, and I'm going to explain to you step by step what happened. And I also want to talk about other things about the shooter, because sadly, nowadays, we don't have journalists anymore. I mean, we have people who want to push an agenda, and it's just so sad to me. Nobody has regards to the truth, and the people of this country deserve better, especially people, suffering, who are victims, who are involved. It's just horrible. Okay, so yesterday, every news organization, it was in Vice News, it was in the Associated Press, and people think of AP, the Associated Press, that's supposed to be like the breaking, real, unbiased, unfiltered news. It was covered in almost every single news organization on the country, which was that the shooter, Nicholas Cruz, and his full name is actually, I don't understand why the media is not reporting it, and to me it doesn't really matter, like what you use, a nickname, a first name, whatever, it's not a big deal. But his name was Nicholas Jesus de Cruz. Like his whole name, I mean, he sounds Spanish. It doesn't matter. I'm not the type of person who says, oh, he's Spanish, it's all Spanish people's faults, or it's all white people's faults, or oh, it's all black people's faults. I don't do that, because I'm not racist and I'm not an idiot. A lot of people do when it's on their side of the fence. Oh, it's all these people of this skin color. To me, that's very dumb, ethnicity wise and whatnot. But I mean, De Jesus Cruz, Nicholas De Jesus Cruz. For some reason, the media reported that right away, and then they don't talk about it anymore. And I'm like, okay. And little beknownst do I know, it's because they're trying to paint the Spanish kid as a white supremacist. I mean, you really can't make this stuff up. It sounds like a bad Dave Chappelle skit. Like, it sounds like a Chappelle show skit. But this is not. This is 2018 journalism. This is the mainstream press that people buy. They subscribe to the New York Times, the Washington Post, CNN, and I guess that's okay with some people because they don't like Trump. I don't even know. But the Anti-Defamation League, which is the ADL, reported first that they were the first ones known in the reporting that the shooter of the school was a white nationalist, and he was affiliated with white nationalist groups. And I do want to say real quick that there is a difference between someone who is a nationalist and a white supremacist. The word nationalism, pride in your country, and, putting the country first, in my personal opinion, there's a level to like how nationalist you are before you're racist. Like, everybody who loves the country, I'm sorry, is not racist. There's black nationalists, there's a lot of Latino nationalists, there's Asian nationalists. So they've been demonizing the term white nationalist. And personally, I'm not one per se. I'm not a nationalist, but I think it's like if you're too much of a nationalist, yeah, you're gonna be a racist and you're gonna be like a bigot. And if you're a 0% nationalist, you're gonna end up being like a, extreme leftist. So it's all a balance, but they tie these two words together. So it's like people think a white nationalist is a white supremacist. I personally don't think it's true, but to each their own. So they report that this guy's in these white nationalist groups with a bunch of like extremist white nationalists, and the Anti-Defamation League reported on it or got the big scoop. First, let's look at who the Anti-Defamation League is. I mean, the ADL, they say they're anti-hate group and whatnot. Their agenda, I mean, they make so much money when something like Charlottesville or this happens. If they can like put a racial aspect on it and really pitch it, that's when these groups get the most funding. The Democratic Party wasn't getting any funding. The DNC, all year they're at record lows. They have no funding. The only time they get funding is when something like this happens. I'm just being honest. Like, they love situations like this because that's when they get all the money, and then everyone's like, "Oh, we gotta vote people. We gotta vote Democrats in. We gotta, they're gonna help us out." Just being honest, whether you lean left or lean right, it's true. This is like the only time that people rally around and think it's a good idea. But they reported off of like a DM on Twitter, and there's some reports saying it was off of Gab, which is another social media site. Just one guy saying one thing, that's all it took, like a DM, like, "Oh yeah, this guy's a white nationalist. Trust me, I know I'm a white nationalist." Or like a social media post. And everybody reports on it. So the ADL, they're connected with ABC or something, and the AP, it's like a whole circle jerk of like ridiculous people who will publish anything. And I have to be honest, like I always am, they don't care about accuracy like people think. And I mean, what could be more clear than this entire story? They have an agenda to push. It might seem like it's going in your favor. It might seem, oh, they're pro-LGBT. They're pro, gun control. They're anti-white supremacist. I don't like white supremacy. They don't like white supremacy. They have an agenda to regain control of power, to get Trump out of office, to do things that are so far beyond the average person's comprehension. They do this no matter what. They don't care anymore. When, I remember a time, or maybe I wasn't paying attention, they had sources and they had reasons and they have evidence. The mainstream media, Facebook, Google, Twitter, the top news sites, they don't even care anymore about having a point. They will publish anything that goes along with their agenda. Anything. And every single news site published that this guy was a white supremacist and a white nationalist based off a bunch of hackers and a bunch of 4chan or 8chan, which is a message board among internet savants who prank the internet all the time. And that's how dumb the mainstream media is. They don't even check. They hear one thing, they read one DM, they read one social media post, and they all publish it. And you know what the real tragedy, I'm going to get into some more stuff too, but the real tragedy is the lie reaches millions of people, and they've been branding this in people's heads. White supremacists, white supremacists, white supremacists are taking over. Vote for us. White supremacists are taking over. Give us money. White supremacists are taking over. Trump's a white supremacist. White nationalist. If you're a nationalist, you're a white supremacist. The kid's freaking Hispanic. I mean, it doesn't matter. I'm just being honest. I mean, he's not even white. I guess his skin color is white if you're talking about, skin tone. But they'll publish that a Hispanic shooter, was a white supremacist based off a troll from 8chan and 4chan users. I mean, that's how easy it is. If you want to make national headlines, just DM a writer from the New York Times, DM a writer from the Washington Post, make something up. You don't need to have a scoop anymore. If you want national attention and headlines, you could be Stormy Daniels or Fire and Fury, write a book. Who cares? I mean, the truth just doesn't matter anymore. If you don't like Trump and it goes against, if it's anti-Trump, if it's pro, LGBT, if it's pro globalism and, the, destruction of American values or whatever, they'll publish you. I mean, they don't care who you are. They don't care your connections. They don't care how much proof you have. They don't care about anything because they have an agenda to push. Even when it comes to a school shooting, the agenda is very clear. You know, they're anti-guns, and me personally, I'm not a huge fan of guns. I think it's probably pretty ridiculous that people are allowed to, you know, purchase like automatic weapons. I think that's pretty ridiculous, and you know, I would not be opposed to some sort of reform there, but I'm not anti-Second Amendment, and I don't think it's appropriate to call the NRA and everybody else terrorists just because you want gun control, and like they've never committed a crime and they have nothing to do with it and it's everyone else's fault. But this should be a glimpse, a mirror into, regardless of political spectrum, what the media is doing. Like, you have to understand who they are. Unless you want to be lied to, I don't know, unless you want to just like believe all these things and get completely used, why do people not care? I mean, every single media source, like every single one, every single mainstream media, they published that this guy was a white nationalist or a white supremacist off of one message. They convinced the whole world that Trump said, you know, shithole countries because one person familiar with the meeting told them that. So there could be 1,000 people in a meeting, and everybody knows, everyone has their own perspective. You know, some people are liars, especially in politics. A lot of them are liars. And all it takes is they don't even have to tell you, hey, this person was in the meeting, this person saw it, they have audio evidence. No. You just have to be an anonymous source. You can be like, hey, I know a guy who knows a guy who knows a guy who knows a white nationalist, and he says that this guy's, oh, okay, yeah, AP, Associated Press, we'll publish it. Twitter, we'll feature the news story. You know, Vice, we're going to talk about it. And they do this weird thing where Vice said it was white supremacy, and then when they draw back the story, either they barely retract it, like the retract gets 1% of the shares and views that the lie gets, or they don't even retract it. Like psychopaths like Vice, to be honest, Vice is like an extremist left, in my opinion, psychopath news organization. Unfortunately, that's what they boil down to. Their agenda is not to tell the truth. Their agenda is not to save and help the black community. I'm sorry. Their agenda is not to help the LGBT community. They pretend like that. Their agenda is to pretend like the entire world is being taken over by white supremacists, and white supremacists are running all over the U.S., and they publish a story saying it's a white supremacist. Then when they dial it back, their article is, oh, the white supremacist backtracks now. So it's like they publish the lie like it's a truth, and they publish the truth like it's a lie. I mean, that's what they do. And it's hard, unfortunately, it's hard to believe anything anymore, because I saw multiple things about the shooter, and I saw him in a communist shirt. So he's in a hammer and sickle shirt, and to me that's one of the best evidences we have of like what type of person he is, because you see his face, you see the shirt, and you know, people that are right-leaning and right-wing, or you know, anti-SJW, anti-communist, whatever, they're all posting these pictures. Look, he's a registered Democrat, he's got a hammer and sickle. To me, it's not concrete evidence, but it's pretty strong evidence. If he's in a shirt, you know, we'll find out if it's photoshopped or not. I think is appropriate. But then you have the left, the same ones that are saying he's a white supremacist. They're saying, oh, he had an Instagram and his Instagram had a MAGA hat on it. So I look at the article. Most people, here's what happens. 95% of people, they believe what they already want to believe. If they hate Trump, they're never going to question the fact that his Instagram had a MAGA hat, or he's a white supremacist or a white nationalist. That's what they want to believe. That's what they want to feed into. So they're going to believe it no matter what. Me personally, I don't like to be lied to, so I go further into it. And I looked at every single news source that said his Instagram had a MAGA hat, and none of them had even remotely as much evidence as him wearing the communist shirt. No one had the evidence because Instagram deleted the account, and there were 3 different accounts of this guy. You know, they're saying that multiple of them could have been real, one of them could have been fake. Personally, I would love to investigate it myself and see, you know, I could spot a fake profile from a mile away, and I could definitely tell, you know, when it's planted. Of course, not with 100% accuracy, but there's little tricks I've known just from meeting people and debating about talking to people that I don't know personally. I could tell, you know, with strong accuracy how fake an account is. But I can't even look at this one because they deleted it already. Instagram immediately deleted, so they have no proof, they have no evidence, they have no, concrete evidence that this guy had an Instagram that had a MAGA hat on it. There's no way to prove it, but they don't care. They have it. They say it's real. You can't check. You can't look. There's no way to prove it, but he was wearing a MAGA hat, so you have the right saying he's wearing a communist shirt. There's a picture of him in a communist shirt. You have the left saying that he's a white supremacist. That's completely false. He had no ties to the white nationalist group, at least not to what they were reporting. They will report anything. They don't care. Don't you care that they don't care? Like, why do you read the news? Most people I know, they watch the news and they read the news because they want to be informed about what's going on in society. I mean, if you want to watch a fake reality show, watch the Kardashians or watch all these weird, new reality TV shows they have. Watch The Bachelorette. Watch, Wheel of Fortune if you want to be entertained. Don't read the news. But I thought people knew that. I thought people would read the news to be informed. They're lying to you. They don't care about accuracy. They don't even care this much. They will publish anything that's anti-Trump. Anything. Anything. And no, it doesn't make it true because Snopes said it. No, it doesn't make it true because CNN said it in the New York Times. And, oh, well, they all said it. Are they all lying to me? Yes, they're all lying to you. I wish I had a better thing to say. Well, why are they all lying? Are they all evil? No, I think a lot of them are useful idiots. A lot of them are just so involved in it that they'll publish anything. I can't tell you. I don't know why they're lying to you, but they are lying to you. And yes, everyone can be lying to you. I mean, I wish I could say, no, that's crazy. Like, Facebook's telling you the truth, and Twitter's telling you the truth. But yesterday, I saw with my own eyes, 4chan, it's a prank message board among, internet users who just troll everybody. They troll humanity, and sometimes, do good things. They trolled the entire mainstream media. You're talking about multi-billion-dollar media corporations that have thousands of employees, that have billions of dollars, that own a reach of billions of people. They're able to be fooled by like a 12-year-old on a message board. I mean, is something not wrong about a mass atrocity? Like, there's no regards for accuracy. They don't care. They published that his Instagram had a MAGA hat, but they have no proof. Everyone's saying, oh, well, his Instagram definitely had a MAGA hat. It definitely had a MAGA hat. I read 10 plus articles, and nothing I read in any of those articles could prove it. They have no proof. They don't have any of the slightest proof. They said, oh, Instagram deleted his account. And I read 5 different ones from 5 different left-leaning news organizations. And in each one, oh, this was his Twitter account. And then the other one's like, no, this was his Twitter account. And then someone said, oh, they were both his Twitter accounts. Someone said, no, that one's fake, that one's real. And the other one said, oh, no, that one's real, and that one's fake. They don't know because Instagram deletes it immediately and everybody just says what they want to say. And then CNN publishes this video where they're like, oh, the neighbor got a picture of the neighbor of the school shooter with the MAGA hat on, and that's breaking news. So then I go to CNN, which is basically Clown News Network or Communist News Network or CIA News Network, whatever you want to call it. They have no regards for accuracy. They have an agenda to push. You go to their website and there's just a picture. Looks like the guy in boxers. Just looks like the most staged setup video ever. Dude just walks outside, has a MAGA hat on. You can't really see the face because it's too far away. In the boxers, just shoots a gun. Comes outside, shoots a gun 5 times, and then walks in the house. I mean, it looks like the most staged, ridiculously fake video. And I wish I could sit here and say, oh, CNN wouldn't stage a video. They would never stage evidence. But that's literally what they do. I mean, I don't know a nicer way to say it. I've been analyzing the news last year, all of it. Right-leaning news organizations, especially internet right-wing news organizations, they tend to publish before they have information as well. I find that they're not quite as bad, but for sure, people will publish anything on the right. I'm not saying that it doesn't happen both ways. It does, and I've seen it. People do it all the time. But what I'm saying is, they're lying to you. I mean, can I sit here and say honestly, CNN would never doctor a video like that. There's no way. No, they've done it 20, 30 plus times the last year. So why would it be impossible that they just made this video to try to pin this on the President of the United States? I mean, the clearest proof that I saw was that he had a communist shirt on. And how can a Spanish guy in a communist shirt, the media somehow twist that into he's a white supremacist Trump supporter, and they're allowed to do that because they don't even need video proof. Yes, they could stage and doctor video proof to further their point. Yes, they can make up fake Instagram posts to further their point. Yes, there's a possibility that that's actually true and it's accurate and it's real, but they don't even need to do that now. They do that to further push it, but they can publish anything. I want this to get into people's heads. Whether you're a left-leaning liberal or you're a right-leaning conservative, the news no longer cares about accuracy. They don't sit here like me. They don't try to debunk things and look for evidence. They will publish anything off of a social media post, off of a direct message, off of a rumor that one woman says, off of a rumor that one man says, off of a message board prank. They don't care. Their agenda is to take the country back from the President of the United States. I'm sorry. Their agenda is not to help the black community. I'm sorry. Their agenda is not to help the LGBT community. I'm sorry. Their agenda is not to stop school shootings. I'm sorry. They don't dislike school shootings. That's when they make the most money. That's when people flock back to them, so they have no incentive for this type of stuff not to happen. And let me remind you that in the JFK files that came out, it showed that the intelligence communities were staging events in Florida. I mean, it's CBS News. It said they plotted to kill Castro, and they were willing to stage an event to blow up a boatload of Cubans on their way to Miami. They said, we'll really do it. We'll stage a bombing in Miami. We'll do whatever we have to do to get our agenda across. They've admitted to you that they're willing to stage events and kill people to push an agenda. It's not a big conspiracy anymore. It's not a, whoa, that's a crazy concept. The world's perfect. And no one would ever do anything bad. Only President Trump's bad. And oh my God, he's the worst thing ever. And once we get rid of him, it's going to be perfect again. I mean, how stupid do you have to be? It's in CBS. It's in NBC. It's on all the major news networks. They have admitted to you that they will kill people and stage events to push an agenda. Do you ever remember them being slapped on the wrist for doing that? Hey, you guys can't do that anymore. No one even knew about it until last year. So why would they stop doing it when nobody believes that they could do it? And people attack people for saying that. Like, oh, you're crazy for saying what I know that they're doing because all the documents already prove that they're doing that. So they have no incentive to not do this. So I'm just throwing it out there. I don't know exactly what happened. There's terrible people, absolutely. There's horrible, sick people. There's a lot of pharmacy pills flooding the streets. There's mental instability. Life is very tough, and our country is more divided now than ever. So absolutely. Could this kid have been a white nationalist? Absolutely. Could he have been a Trump supporter and wearing a MAGA hat shooting in his backyard? Totally. It's absolutely a possibility. Could he have been a communist Democrat? Absolutely. Could the media have been lying about the whole thing? Yeah, they're not only could be lying, they're definitely lying. I don't personally know the truth, but listen how I'm talking to you. I say, here's the evidence of him wearing a communist shirt. They have a picture with the shirt on. Here's the evidence of why the Instagram had a MAGA hat. Here's the evidence of the video of him shooting the gun. Here's that, you see how I'm pitching it out? I'm like, could be that, could be that. Here's what we have here. Here's what we have here. Make your own decision. That's journalism. That's real news. That's somebody who cares about honesty and accuracy. Is telling you the situation, who the guy is, and what the possibilities are. I'm not going to sit here and say it's impossible. Of course. I mean, there's ignorant, absolutely. There's ignorant white supremacists. There's ignorant white nationalists. There's ignorant Spanish people because he's not really even, he's not American white. He's got a really Spanish name, which is fine. It doesn't matter to me, but it's just creepy to me how the news can be like, oh, he's a white supremacist. Everyone's like, yeah, totally. There's no way he's not. So they don't care about any of the stuff I said. They will do and say anything to further their agenda. And when something like this happens, I wish it were some other way, but that's when they get the most funding. When Charlottesville happening, the organizations, the Southern Poverty Law Center and the Anti-Defamation League and the Democratic Party and the DNC, they saw a huge increase in funding because no one cares about them until a tragedy happens because they don't have a policy. They don't have solutions. They don't have trust. They don't have integrity. They don't have any of these things that any decent human being would have. So they feed off fear. They feed off division. They feed off hate. They hate on, their whole policy is to hate on President Trump. So they can't woo you over with a big strategy that they don't have, so they need a bunch of tragedies to happen for them to gain leeway. And I'm not saying that they did this. I'm just saying the truth is that they profit when something like this happens. So at a financial standpoint, they win every time America and kids and schools like this lose. They get to, double up and push 5 different agendas at a time, and people believe it when they're emotionally torn. And I'm not, I'm not saying I know the answer. I'm not saying it's left to be discovered, but I am here saying the whole mainstream media, Twitter, Facebook, Vice, all of the top news organizations, Associated Press, which then everybody reports off the Associated Press, they pushed an entire 4chan rumor. I mean, if that is not a wake-up call, I don't know what is. Every day they do this. They made national and global outrage over an anonymous rumor. You don't need to tell the truth anymore. You don't need to have evidence. They don't care about evidence. I mean, they hide evidence. If there is evidence and it doesn't go in their way, not only do they not report it, but they hide it and they act like it doesn't exist, and they pitch out a story that tells the exact opposite. There's multiple news organizations that for some reason have priority on Snapchat, on Instagram, on Facebook and Twitter and Google. They're working with the social media news organizations. They won't tell you the truth ever. Literally ever. If he's a communist and a Democrat, if that's true, they're going to tell you he's a white supremacist, even if he's Spanish. I mean, this is how far they will go. And I'm not saying to stop looking and stop searching, but what I am saying is it's ridiculous that people continue to blindly follow what they're doing. I mean, when you get into the news articles, this is all I ask, because I don't say to blindly believe me or blindly believe any news source. If you want to be lied to, if you want to be programmed and manipulated and used for someone else's financial gain, just read the headline and believe what's on social media, because that's what that'll do. If you want to get to the truth, read the article and have critical thinking skills. Use common sense, use logic, use love, don't use hate, and see what proof they have. They never have any proof. The main news organizations, the top news organizations, and it does include Fox as well sometimes. They'll publish a report with an anonymous source. I've seen it sometimes. A lot of right-wing news organizations do the same thing. I don't do that. That's why when people post things in the comments, they message me every day. Anomaly, post this, anomaly, you got to do this. First of all, people, you got to give me a break. I like messages. I appreciate you guys, the love and support. And I appreciate a good scoop, but I can't do everything. I'm one person. I edit my own videos. I answer my own emails. I'm a one-man show as far as the production value. I can't solve all the world's problems every single second. So don't shower me with a bunch of stuff, especially if it's not real. It definitely goes right. The reason I focus on the left-wing media, though, is because they own 95% of the media. They own Facebook, Twitter, Google, YouTube. They control the minds of the masses. They control especially the minds of the youth, to the point where people want to dance on a communist island. They think that's a good idea. They're like, I hate Trump. I love communism. I mean, this is what people are saying to me in person. I'm not exaggerating. I'm not even being sarcastic. I can be sarcastic for sure. But people have told me that's their ideal. Oh, I want to just be on a communist island. I don't like America. I'm like, okay. But in general, the scoop here is that the Anti-Defamation League, which doesn't care. I mean, Twitter certainly doesn't care about the truth. I wish I could tell you a news organization that is honest, because everyone always asks me, Anomaly, you talk about all the news, like, what news source do you trust? What news source do you trust? None. I don't trust any. I mean, I wish I could. I wish I'm sure there are some news organizations that actually attempt to tell the truth. I listen to certain people, but I take everything with a grain of salt, because no one cares anymore. They're literally willing to report an anonymous rumor, something one person says, a message on Instagram, like a 4chan post, a post on social media. They will not only report it, but they will report it as fact and not tell you where they got it. They won't tell you that it might not be true. They want to push an agenda. I don't know a better way to put it. They have an agenda to push. And people think their agenda is to save America and save people from Donald Trump. I'm sorry, that's just not true. Their agenda is to regain control. there are people, there are billionaires, there, especially on the left wing, they want, a form of globalism, which is like, open borders, a mass kind of like control of the entire world. They didn't want Brexit to happen, and they didn't want the Trump thing to happen, because that messes up their plan of total control. The UN is under control. Europe is under control. The United States was under control. We still are in the sense that they have so much power, but they're trying to regain power. President Trump, he's a million things. You could love him or hate him. Like I always say, I don't care if you like him or hate him. He's not a puppet. He's not the puppet that they wanted there. That's their agenda, and they will use LGBT rights. They will use the black community. They will use the Latino community. They will use the white liberal. They will use all of these, peace, love, positivity, and white supremacists are taking over the world. This is an easy way for them to get funding and convince people to go run and vote Democrat again so they can get back into power, or vote phony Republican. People like McCain and Mitt Romney, who are the same thing as the Democrats. I mean, Republicans and Democrats, anomaly, they're the same thing. I know they are, but there's a difference between Trump and McCain. There's a difference between Trump and Romney, and if you don't see it yet, you're blind. People come to me and say, oh, anomaly, it's all the same. Trump's working with the Rothschilds. I mean, the Rothschilds hate President Trump. I'm just being honest. They have a Twitter. Check out their Twitter. It looks like the Washington Post or a Democrat. They're freaking out. They don't like Trump. They're not playing along with the game. I mean, Trump's not going against the Federal Reserve or the money system. Yeah, of course he's not. He's not like gonna throw the entire world into pure anarchy. I'm sorry if that's what you want, but he's can't solve all the world's ills. / probably not a good idea anyway to get rid of the money system. I mean, how else would people like? It's not like, oh, there's no laws and there's no money, everything's gonna be perfect. No, that sounds terrible. I'll pass on that. But he's not who they want, and that's what's behind everything. And if they can make this connection that he's a white supremacist, and anybody that wants a nationalist ideology is a white supremacist, that's not helping you. That's not stopping racism. The reason they do this is because they're programming you to be against any form of anti-globalism. They're programming you to hate and reject anything that will likely save you in the long run. I'm not a super nationalist person. I love the whole world, and I don't care, I don't preference anything, but I live in America. I'm an American citizen, and we're long overdue from focusing within and focusing on ourselves. All we do is focus on everybody else. We give everybody else money. We fund these people. We give weapons to them. We give weapons to them. We go in their country. We go in their country. I thought that's something we can all agree on. We need to focus on ourselves. But they've twisted people to be, oh, if you like the president and you like the country, you're a white nationalist and a white supremacist. And if you keep believing every headline or every single tragedy that happens runs you back in that direction, they're never going to stop. Why would they want to stop? And they would never do something like that. I mean, they fund terrorists. They fund rebels. They go to other countries and they drone strike and kill innocent children all the time. I mean, it's disgusting stuff. I'm not co-signing it. It's disturbing and gross to me, and it's creepy the fact that they gave weapons to rebels, and then all of a sudden these rebels are killing the leader of Libya and trying to kill the leader of Syria, and extremists are taking over and chopping off people's heads and selling them into slavery. I don't co-sign that. That's disturbing, but I'm saying, do you really think these people who lie to you every day on the television, who start wars overseas and who drone strike children, you think that they would never have somebody kill someone in America? You're a crazy conspiracy theorist. They've admitted it. It's in the JFK files. Not only would they do it, they wanted to do it. They definitely would do it. It's a fact now. It's not an opinion. It's not like a far right conspiracy or a Republican thought. It's the truth. And why would they stop? Because no one calls them out on it. The leftist nowadays, or the liberal, not only do they not acknowledge it, not only do they not accept it, not only will they not read it, but they've been programmed to attack people who tell them about it. Like, hey, buddy, this stuff's happening. The news is lying to you. They're like, no, you're crazy. You're crazy. You're crazy. Where'd you read that? The news. The news. They don't care anymore. And there's no libel laws. This is actually something that President Trump's been talking about for 20 years. The media has no, there's no penalty for lying. They don't have to tell you the truth. I mean, there's regulations on certain industries for sure, like, and there's laws, like there's certain things you can't do, and if there was no law, people would do it more. You know, that's why we have laws. Like, some of them are good, some of them are not, but there's no laws. The media is a lawless society. They don't have to tell the truth, so they're not going to tell the truth because they're owned by multiple mega corporations who have an agenda to push. CNN doesn't care about you. The New York Times doesn't care about you. Twitter doesn't care about you. They act like they care about you. Some of them probably even think that they care about you. But they don't care about you. They have an agenda to push. And they're more concerned with pushing their agenda than they are about the truth. Maybe I'm a rare individual in the fact that I don't have an agenda, to be honest. My agenda is truth. My agenda is, pure love. I want everyone to be happy and healthy. And I want to try to, benefit as many people as I can and be considerate and be thoughtful and, understand people's perspectives. Like, that's my big agenda. But the news, they're multi-billion-dollar mega corporations who are tied in with politicians, foreign countries, and people with wealth beyond your wildest dreams. And I don't know. Like, they have goals, they have missions, and it's not really to, like, save everyone. It's to regain control, to regain power, and make more money. So I just wish, even if people were liberal, if people are conservative, find more honest sources, because this is another example. When is the madness going to stop? This is like the 50th time, the 100th time, maybe more, that the entire media reports on a completely fictional event. The whole Russia-Trump collusion is a fictional event. The biggest news story of last year is a non-existent fictional reality created by the circle jerk of anti-Trump, salivating lunatic journalists who will publish anyone and anything that goes against him. And I would hope that people that don't like Trump can separate the fact, hey, I don't like Trump, but I want to get the truth. Don't you want to beat him with the truth? Don't you want the truth to conquer? Or do you want to just, like, be a salivating rabid dog that just, like, tears everything down in front of you and just wants to win? I want to win, 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 win. If that's the case, you're going to find out you're going to lose. You're not going to win, because the whole media is not telling the truth, and they're able to manipulate people in the easiest ways. Every single day, they push complete fabricated lies, and it's not going to stop, just like everything, until people realize it and stop buying into it. So, once again, when a tragedy like this happens, I don't know what happened. He could have been a white supremacist. He could have been a white nationalist. There is a difference. He could have been a communist. He could have been a Democrat. He could have absolutely been a setup. It could have been a setup, so they do that, then push their agenda and get a lot of funding and get a lot of money and get a lot of votes. I mean, it could be all of the same things, but it's never going to stop, regardless of if it came from the extreme right or the extreme left. It's never going to stop until people sit down and realize that the media that they trust and love and the social media that they think is so accurate is not accurate. And millions of people already know. I mean, it's just bananas to me that the whole media, all of these billion-dollar news corporations that their slogans are, we're trustworthy and democracy dies in darkness, they all reported on a completely, humorous, I wouldn't say it's humorous, it's not funny, but a 4chan joke, a troll, a complete hoax. They'll publish anything. It doesn't matter. They don't need proof. They don't show proof. They pretty much never show proof anymore because they don't have to. If you eat garbage, if they give you garbage and you eat it, they're going to keep giving it to you. Why would they stop giving it to you until you stop accepting it? And I get yelled at. I say this to my friends. Oh, you're so right-wing now. You're really becoming a nationalist, or you're right. Why? Because I don't just read the headline and I go into the article and I'm not convinced by fake journalism, and I know that they're lying every single day, and I time and time again prove how they're lying, that now I'm all of a sudden this big monster because I'm not a complete moron. I mean, that's what people say to me. Oh, you're crazy for not being lied to and trying to empower other people and, give them hope and give them things. Like, it's so bananas. So please, just read the article and understand that they're not trying to be accurate. They're not trying to give you the truth. They'll do anything to get their message across. Thank you guys so much. Maybe I'll make a big video about this that's shorter, concise, to the point, that's more shareable. But this is what it is for now. Much condolences and blessings and all of those things for people involved in the shooting. There's too many. It's horrible. Bad stuff goes on all the time. I don't want to see this become a norm. But once again, it's never going to stop until you get to the root of the problem. If we just yell politics on the surface, they're going to keep happening because there's millions of things that could be happening. But when the entire media and the entire journalists, they're not journalists, they're fake journalists, cover-up organizations that hide real evidence and can convince the entire public to believe something that's not even remotely, there's no evidence involved. I mean, the people have to step up and demand better. It's like the food industry. They fed us trash for so long because we ate trash. Now that people are becoming health conscious, they feed you better food. You know, they find a way to give you better food. So it's like the media is the same way. We're improving. We're getting better. Let's keep going. Let's not let a tragedy divide us. Let's not let a tragedy fill us with emotions so we send off our money to some news organization who's going to lie to us. I mean, it's not a good idea. Much love again. I'm going to post my links below, my email list and my other one if you'd like to support. Check out some of my other videos. You can go to the video section on Facebook, and you can find I have 3 different playlists of live videos, popular videos, music videos, and then I have, recent ones. My YouTube channel, I'll post the link below as well if people want to know that. Thank you so much for your support. Have a good day, and please spread the word. Whether someone's super liberal or super conservative or libertarian, I don't care. We need to demand that social media and media does a better job of fact-checking and a better job of actually having evidence before they push this huge narrative, because it's very damaging one way or another, whether it leans left or leans right. It's harmful mentally to our country and the world. And with all of these mental games and mental tie-ups, and then we wonder why there's so many bad things. We're destroying people mentally. We're feeding them pills. We're showering them with misinformation. We're showering them with lies. We're showering them with hate. We're showering them with division. We're showering them with this narrative that it's the worst time in the world and there's extremists taking over the country. We're showering people with all of this toxic negative stuff, then promoting pharmacy pills all over the place. We have the most ridiculous pill problem that we've ever had in United States history. And then we act so surprised when something bad happens. I mean, this is a recipe for disaster. And I think it's the best time to be alive, but these issues need to be addressed appropriately, get at the root of the problem so we can actually fix it and not just hate, blame back and forth, and say, it's communist, it's Antifa, it's communist. It's getting old. Thank you guys. Much love. Have a good weekend.